Hello and welcome to Show and Sell, the show that celebrates digging through other people's trash. Yeah. Hello, Trash Dragons. My name is Chris, Trash Dragon of the West. That is Francis. You'll meet him later. And the show is Show and Sell, where we talk about digging through other people's trash and the weird things you find. And this is my guitar, Mr. Blankenship. Hold on. What is that, Mr. Blankenship? I can't hear you. Oh, yes. Thanks for reminding me. I collect stuff on the media to sell on eBay and Discogs.
Fun. I'm Katie, and I'm Trash Dragon of the South, and I collect anything clothing related, anything accessories related, and anything sparkly.
Sparkly.
And I'm Joe. I'm the Trash Dragon of the East, and I collect Muppets. Hey! Just kidding. He's not really a Muppet. He's an actual living, breathing canine dog, or Durg. And anyway, I buy and sell stuff. I really have like a wide variety of interests, but tons of I buy in bulk, tons of clothing, tons of electronics, tons of books, whatever. I've got boxes and boxes and a storage unit to full storage unit to show for it.
Amazing.
Anyway,
This will probably come up later. I like your new neon peach hair color, Katie. It's very fetching. So we're going to go right into our first segment, which is the thing that brought you joy.
That brought you joy.
We go classic. Katie first. What brought
Okay.
you joy?
I believe I spoke about this, but I'm not sure if I did it on camera. My new matches acquisition. Did I speak of this?
Mm-mm.
you match
Oh.
no.
All right. I get really excited about vintage.
Because I feel like Joe would have been very excited about this.
Okay.
If you had.
So, it's matchbooks are hard to find, and I like them when I can buy them in bulk. They're normally very expensive, so I like it a lot more if I can find them at a thrift store. I get very excited. In this old crusty jar, by the way, the jar said it was from the Netherlands. It was really weird.
Huh.
And so I just got excited because when I looked in, I saw a few hotels that I knew were no longer in service in Las Vegas. And that sometimes means they're valuable. So I saw Aladdin right away and I was like, Aladdin's not a hotel anymore. And then as I opened it up, they have the Stardust in here, the Riviera, a bunch of old hotels. There's also a commemorative Charles and Diana wedding matches.
Sorry.
And so I feel like this might be a gold mine.
Yeah.
And Joe, if you love things like this, seeing Chris is getting the magazines, maybe Joe has to get the matches. If you're interested.
Well.
They're pretty fun. I'll keep my two favorites, which are not valuable. And then look at there's Charles and Diana.
Wow.
Oh, what a handsome couple.
A love for the ages.
A love for the ages.
Yeah.
They're still together in heaven.
Well, no, Charles is here.
Yeah,
Charles
he's just
here,
got
right?
cancer, right?
He does?
Yes,
That's what some
yeah.
people say, yeah.
Pardon me, I'm not up on
We're not going into this. Isn't a conspiracy theory thrifting podcast.
And another thing.
The lizard people.
Oh, don't talk about them. I know all
No.
about them. I've done a few episodes on them. So here we go. This I feel like might have some valuable matches in it. I looked up a few. Nothing's crazy, but when you add it all together, it might be a good little amount. And also the matches aren't wet. They're in good condition. They look like they'll still strike. So whoever did this also liked to party because it's a lot of clubs as well.
Or they like to just stop and grab matches and leave.
About it. Joe, what's your item of joy this week?
Well, my item of joy a while ago, way back in October, Chris and I met up in Appleton, Wisconsin to do some thrifting. And
I remember this.
We
I remember
stopped
that.
had a bunch of books that were like 75 cents for a bag or something like that. They were just like blowing out all their books. And I was like, I was like, well, let's see what they have. And so they had the Sesame Street Library. Like they had probably like, probably like 15 different 15 different books, like different editions, some doubles, and anyway, one of the things I do, and I think I mentioned it before, is I have a button maker and I make buttons out of old children's books and things. So I just I've been cutting them up, and today I just decided to just go whole hog and make a whole bunch of Sesame Street pins, including first of all, not even first of all, like I have these, which are kind of my favorites because they were just like big pictures of, big picture. I mean, they're all like illustrations of Muppets mostly. So I have this, which is clearly Bert,
That's great.
clearly Ernie, and clearly our patron saint. This is actually from a photograph, not an illustration. Or is it? Let's see.
Is this Oscar?
It is Oscar, our patron saint Muppet. Oscar the Grouch, who, as he says, loves trash.
He does love trash. Actually, I had a hamster named Oscar when I was very young, after Oscar the Grouch. And I remember getting very upset because my mom was like, "Oh, Oscar from the Odd Couple." Yeah, and I'm just like, why would I name after Oscar from the Odd Couple?
6-year-olds crazy for Jack Klugman, man.
I was a Klug man.
That's great. What did you find, Chris? What's your item of joy?
But that is awesome. I've talked about this lot of things. A friend of mine gave me just ephemera. And this was just kind of rolled up, and she was just like, "Hey, I think you'll like this." And I just haven't looked at it, and I finally opened it this week, and I was just like, "Oh my God." So it's a bunch of like either fashion, I'm not exactly sure what they are, but they look like either fashion drawings or Art Deco, but it's like drawings like this.
Wow.
So like this is a lady in an outfit. This is...
Who are they signed by? Who is that?
A bunch of different people. Although, like, this person is J.L.M. Baird, who was an art professor in like Tampa, Florida, and something along those lines. And he was the only person I've been able to track down name wise that is an artist, and he's not a fashion artist, but it's.
Are these hand done? Are these ink? Like to paper? Those are originals?
Yeah, these are originals.
That'd be a
this is another
framed. That'd be really pretty.
I'm sorry?
If those were framed as a set, that'd be really pretty.
These are like, I don't know exactly what there's holes in the corners. This is a cool one, very chic.
Chanel. Oh, I love that.
And this is another kind of Chanel-y kind of mid-mod kind of thing. And then the last couple are just crazy. This is clearly like a Viking. And just very elaborate, very beautifully done. It just says Snyder 2, and with this kind of, like, I don't know if you can see this.
Whoa.
That's the... so if you know who this is, people, and then this is awesome. I might keep this one or these two and frame them. But this is a Matador. Just beautiful. And yeah, original and weird and kind of unexpected, which is what I love and brings me joy. Like, literally, I've just been been showing these off. I'm like, can you believe these? Go ahead, Joe.
Oh my gosh.
You know if is Baird still teaching, or
I think he's passed. But I will. That's a good. I think I know what you're going to say. Like, to reach out to him and be like, "Hey, I got these."
Tell me about this. Yeah.
Or look at the faculty list for wherever he taught and see if those are also professors at those schools or something. Or maybe he went to a school and so it was while he was in school.
But that is my item of joy. But why don't we go? We got a really special section next. We're going to talk to our friend CJ, and interview her, and she's going to be happy and bring everyone joy, because that's the kind of lady she is.
Yay!
Trash Dragon of the Week. Rawr.
Everyone, we're back, and we're with a very special guest, as promised, CJ, Trash Dragon of Charleston. Yay!
Yay!
So just to kind of kick it off, we Joe and I worked with CJ years ago at when we were working in Adult Swim in New York, and we, like Joe and CJ, were known as the Trash Twins, right?
Garbage twins.
Garbage Twins. Garbage Twins. And,
For obvious reasons. Look at us.
yeah, just so why don't you just tell us about your thrifting journey? Where did you what started you off, and where, like, where's you kind of like gone?
I grew up in rural Missouri outside of St. Louis in a little town called Eureka. And I remember I loved this antique store there, and I loved a flea market not too far away from Eureka. And I was walking by and I saw this bowl at the flea market.
Wow.
And I was like, I love enamelware. I had, family that had like old blue and white splatterware. And so I always loved enamel. And I picked it up. So I was probably 12 or something and thinking, man, I would pay like $10 for that. Like, that's cool. $10 is a lot. And the guy saw me looking at it, was like, you want that for $2? I'm like, yes. I didn't even negotiate. I'm like, I can tell that's a deal. So I remember years later, with more access to the internet, looking it up, and, like golden brown figures enamel bowl, and which led me to the Finnish designer Kaj Frank. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's like Kaj, but he designed this, and it's like probably $80 on Etsy right now, but there's versions that you've probably seen before that have like a heart or mushrooms. It's sort of like a classic bowl shape. And that, I think, kind of set me on this journey of like, you can look up items. They have a history. You can be drawn to something and not exactly know why. Like I'm still really drawn to enamelware of all types. So I think that really set off for me, like, this idea that everything in your life could like maybe have a backstory, or that secondhand things can have another life. And also that the practical things that you touch every day in your life can be beautiful, or can be like tactilely pleasing.
Joe, do you have a question for CJ, our guest?
So, CJ, hi, first of all.
Yeah.
Second of all,
Francis has
oh my God, Francis is just being. I was gonna say, have you found anything recently that really has tickled your thrifting fancy?
Yes. So I find a lot of stuff now that I live in Charleston. It's a historic city. There's truly treasures in the trash everywhere. Actually, in the dirt everywhere. There are bits of broken pottery, marbles, clay pipe stems. Like, I have become such a treasure hunter since I lived down here, just from it being such a historic city. So it's kind of long-winded, but like, people used to just throw away in their privy ceramics and garbage in their garbage, and then towed it out of town up to like where I live, just outside of town. And it's used as like infill a lot. And also like where there's tidal creeks and stuff, things are like washed up. So I'm deeply addicted to finding old like 1800s pottery, clay pipe stems, marbles. And then I sometimes in thrift stores find like the same sort of things, but that are like the actual full object. But
oh, wow.
Usually those are like very expensive. So every once in a while I can find one that's like underpriced. I just threw a lot at you, but I want to give you guys some examples of what I'm talking about. So like clay pipe stems are like one of my favorite things to find. So it looks like a cigarette, but
right.
It would have been like this very long pipe that when you passed it, you like broke off a little bit and the next person had it.
Oh,
or they
wow.
just broke. Huh. So I find these little, like, I have dozens of these. And clay marbles are another cool thing. So these are like very old, but there's construction next to me, and I'm finding all of these regular marbles. These are just some of them that I've found. It's like I really am finding a lot of crap that is excellent. But my very favorite thing to find is mochaware, which is this type of very like modern looking 1800s ceramics.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
I'll show you. I have this book. There's only one. Oh, geez. Everything's fine.
And that's MOCA ware? Oh,
yes,
okay.
mochaware. There's one book about it.
Oh, wow.
And
one.
A lot of people don't And this guy, Jonathan Rickard, was awesome. He just passed away, and this book is hard to find. It was hard to find because it's like out of print. I think they were going to bring it back. But I found in an antique store for very underpriced a tankard of mochaware.
Oh,
and it was just like my holy grail. I was in Columbia, South Carolina. Like, I only ever find little pieces of this stuff. And to find a whole tankard, which, you know, maybe has lead in it. Like, I can't actually drink out of this. This is not functional. But it's just so, like it looks incredibly modern to me for something that was made in
It's beautiful.
probably the early 1800s.
Wow.
So this is what I really nerd out about is mochaware.
You can put all your pieces of mochaware into that, into the tankard.
I've also noticed that after I find something I'm not as interested in it, it's really like the thrill of the hunt for me.
Yeah.
So it's just like about going on walks and finding stuff and then like coming home and rinsing them off and putting them in my bowl. And then I'm like,
then it's dead to you.
Yes, the itch has been scratched at that point.
Yeah.
Have you considered taking the leap to becoming a detectorist, as in a metal detectorist?
Yeah, well, I have a metal detector, but it is hard to use and I haven't figured it out. Someone gave me that.
Okay.
But this, I didn't tell Chris this, but there is this metal detector guy who's amazing in Charleston. He's found like all kinds of crazy stuff, like, you know, Civil War bullets and all this stuff.
Oh,
so
wow.
he found out, he's actually who I bought the mochaware book from. And he's like, not that many people know about mochaware. You're like so into it. He's like, come to my Civil War relic show. I have something to give you. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like walking around and I go up and he goes, I have a mochaware chamber pot.
Oh, wow. With the lid and everything.
It is full of his mochaware finds that he's like, I only like metal and you like mochaware.
Oh, wow.
So he gave me a whole thing of it.
That's amazing.
And he was like, you know, you're the only person who's going to freak out about a mochaware chamber pot. So he found that while metal detecting.
Wow.
Like trying to find privies and stuff. So,
In the ground.
Yeah.
Found it.
Wow.
Yes.
Did you just throw it back in his face and be like, I only like finding it out in the wild, sir. Thank you for your generosity.
It was a little like, I didn't know how, like, it felt different. I didn't find it. I was gifted it. So it's like, that's a good point. It has kind of been like dusty over on a table where my other ones I might like pick up and touch a little more.
I was told in your background dossier before you came on the show. Just kidding.
The ledger I sent.
That you possibly used to collect belts or enjoy collecting belts. Is this true?
This
Are you
is true.
A belt person? I'm also a belt person.
Awesome.
Are you still collecting belts in your?
I haven't in a while. If I see, I really like the hand-tooled leather name belts.
Oh yes. Oh, I love those. I have a Donna one. Oh,
Donna. I
I
started with Marvin, and then I got Kim. But Marvin is still maybe my favorite.
Marvin's great. Yeah.
I think I ended up like they are tucked away right now, but I have like more than 20.
Oh, that's amazing.
And a lot of them I couldn't wear, like, you know, just various sizes, but then I had a couple that I could wear and I would wear. So yeah, those were always kind of fun because it's like, Kim? You know, someone would like, yeah, sure, you could be whoever you want for that night.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that kind of ties back to like, I love handmade things. So just like having a belt that you can tell like the hand of the maker was on it and it was meant for somebody else. And it's funny in the South, like people really love monograms and things with names. And I like those belts. Like I like that too. I kind of do like a cloth napkin that has someone else's monogram on it or something that just has that like personalized element is special. It feels so not manufactured.
No, I want my gravestone to say, here lies Chris. I got your stuff. Because I also like collecting my wall is filled with like very personal photos. The more like intimate photos, like kind of like, you know, they're just a warm moment between people that meant something to someone. And just like, I love those, like just this was a photo that someone really cared about at one point. But let's move on to our next segment, the Tales from the Flypt, Joe.
Tales from the Flypt!
All right, Tales from
the Flypt. Tales from the Flypt.
So this question was actually inspired by chatting with CJ over the text this morning. And so the question is, what is a relationship like when you're a trash dragon for you? Why don't I go first? It's great because I'm not in a relationship. So, sure.
Has it hurt your previous relationships?
No, my previous relationship with my ex, she was more of the collector than I was. And I didn't really get serious about eBay until I came out to LA. And that, I think I've told that story on here already, but she was had a lot more stuff. She had cooler stuff. And I want to have her on one day just to show her purse collection. Because she has these amazing cigar box wooden purses and a bunch of other stuff too. She's a really cool lady. And CJ, why don't you go? What are you like in a relationship as a trash dragon?
Well, I'm excited to hear from Joe too, because I don't feel like we've talked about this, but we should, as Joe and I are garbage twins and also very much love our partners who deal with our garbage tendencies. But I think that I've been humbled. I've learned a lot from my partner. And when Max and I moved in together, it was very obvious that we were both collectors and that we had to kind of make some decisions. And it kind of came down to for each item, who has the better coffee table? We really had to kind of go item by item. And he has this really cool old, not that old, but Bunn coffee maker. Have you ever seen those? They're manufactured in Chicago, and they instantly put hot water through the coffee. And it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. So I thought that I had the better coffee maker, but then I saw this Bunn coffee maker. So we went with that one. So I feel I think laughter helps, kind of laughing at ourselves. When he's you literally have 3,000 marbles, or, laughing at ourselves, grouping things together has helped. He's kind of put lots of my piles of things together, but displayed them pretty. And then being honest about do I need this thing? But I'm early, I haven't been married that long. So this is my early advice on what's working for us in our 1,000 square foot house that we share.
Do you guys go hunting together?
What's that?
Do you go hunting together?
We do. He grew up in old houses in Cape Cod and Vermont. We have very similar, we both love old things. So we do go hunting together. But right now it's more for a specific thing. We know we really want a better dining table than we have. So it's unless we're going looking for that, we're probably not just going to go out thrifting. And I don't resell. I use everything I collect or give to somebody. So I have to kind of limit myself a little bit, but we have different styles when we go out thrifting together. We kind of look for different things, then we come back and show each other what we found.
Let me ask you a question. Do you want a Bunn coffee grinder?
Ooh, I didn't know there was such a thing.
Oh yeah, it's from the old Onion office. In fact, it was it was bought in 2001 or 2002 when the Onion was getting rid of everything before moving back to Chicago. I grabbed it and took it home, and so I've got this giant oversized it's got 2 hoppers for beans, and it's just it's an insane. It's got a large footprint. Let's just put it that way.
I just love that the whole time I was explaining that, Joe was sitting there yeah, but what about the Bunn coffee grinder?
That's pretty much yep. That's it in a nutshell.
So I'm looking them up. Which one do you have? Which one?
BUNN.
BUNN coffee maker. I would have to see how big it is. Like I said, we have a small kitchen, but the pedigree of that it came from the Onion office, that you salvaged it, that I brought up Bunn. To me, this is why I have so many things, because I'm but there's a story behind it. I think Joe is avoiding answering this question.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I was going to say, Joe, you're neither humble nor ruthless, so why don't you go?
All right. Well, okay. So, what is it like for my relationship? For me and my wife and my relationship as a trash dragon. Okay, so Hannah's my wife, and
How long have you been married?
we've been married for since 2000. It's going to be 7 years in July, so 6.5 years. We were together for about a year and a half before we got married. Maybe
We're
two.
the
Well,
same.
was it 2 years? Well, we were together for 2 years before we got married. So we've been together for about 9 years now, and she moved. Like she was living in a studio apartment, and so we didn't have to worry about too much about like the, what do we didn't have to worry too much about what do you bring to the relation to the house. What am I doing to the house? Because it was just like she didn't have a whole lot of, she didn't have much furniture at all, so it was just like moving into a furnished house, and it's not always easy for her, because it's my, not only is it my is it a beloved, she also likes going to thrift stores, and she likes going to estate sales and yard sales, but not quite as much as me. So but honestly, what's really the most difficult for her is that it's not like the thrifting or the buying, it's the having, because it's also my business. So it's like it's that, and it also there's some surprise of surprises. I have some some small neurological disorders, and I have a tendency toward hoarding. So it's hard for me to see. I'll see a pile of stuff and I'll be like, okay, that's been there for about 3 weeks, and I know where my paperwork is. It should be about there. But of course, that's not how normal people exist. And so it's just difficult because she feels like a lot of times she feels like she's being kind of forced out of the house or doesn't have a place or whatever. And so it's just, so that's one thing that I'm kind of working on right now, is actually getting to a point in which finding that happy medium between like having a house that is not dominated by stuff I'm trying to sell. But I mean, as far as but then again, she also finds I'll find stuff that she loves. There is some bribery at at play here, and but mostly it's just like it's hard for me to make it to get things out of the house fast enough. So
Yeah.
like, for example, does anybody need some miniature screwdrivers? I don't know why I have them here, but I've got them.
I love those things. though.
Every time
love
I grab them every time I see them.
I think it's such a good level of self-awareness, Joe. And I also remember thrifting with Hannah, and she has such an eye for textiles. I remember she really picked this one green fabric that I still have that I love, that she just zeroed in on it. And so I totally agree. It's finding what it is that excites your partner, so then you can be like, see, we like this together. We're and complimenting them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, Katie, why don't you answer this question?
Well, I didn't realize that Joe and I had been married about the same length of time. Not to each other, but we have been married to our respective people.
That would be weird if you didn't realize that.
Yeah.
How does this happen? What the?
Yeah.
Remember that weekend in Vegas?
No.
The Trash Dragon trip to Vegas?
Never invited on your guys' trips. It's fine. I'll get over it someday.
We had one trip, and we didn't even travel together.
We just met.
I just happened to be available. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So
next trip to Asheville, and you're invited, Katie.
Thank you. I'd love to. I love Asheville so much. So I think that when I was looking back sort of at my relationships, I think I only date other trash dragons. I think that's how it goes with me. Everyone has had some sort of a collection or has wanted one, and money prevented them from having and the collection built that they want. Does that make sense? Which is everyone's story forever. But Oliver came to the relationship sort of with nothing. He did not have a lot. And I was growing at the time 7 years ago, and now I have much more, but he's a really good sport. I think he really likes it. And I think that he really wants me to be happy, and he sees that all this sparkly stuff that I never wear makes me really happy. Just I want all the like Dorothy from Golden Girls sparkly sequin sort of shapeless dresses. I really enjoy those. I don't wear them, and
Like
I don't
the back of my phone case.
I don't end up selling them. I just
Yeah.
love them. They just like, if I see them in a thrift store and it's in the price tag is under $8, I have to I need to have it, and I don't need it. But he thinks that's kind of funny, and then he sees me get frustrated with it, because I get frustrated pretty quick because I see that I've sort of overdone it in some areas. That he's a very good trash partner, which is great. And we call it bebopping on days that we go out and do the hunting. It's called a bebop day. And he can
Love
sort of
that.
tell also, I get a little sad if I have not bebopped in a while. And so he's like, let's go bebop, and we'll go. Or we'll try to find a thrift store we haven't been to yet, or we'll do an antique mall that we haven't done. But I'm really lucky. And the way I get away with it too is I have a lot of stuff, but he's really messy. And so you can't really be mad at, like, I do have stuff, but I have a lot of bins and things like that. Like, I can kind of organize it, and he just sort of leaves his 9 things everywhere. Somehow they're maximized. So it kind of like evens out, you know? I have the more stuff, but his stuff is more everywhere.
You know what, guys? I think we did it. Another classic show and sell episode.
How is this possible?
I don't know.
Just keep on putting out
Amazing.
banger after banger after banger after banger.
Well,
That's
we
right.
got people like CJ who's keeping it fresh for us, bringing us new stuff that I've never heard of. That's awesome. Moko, like all the stuff you brought was so great.
I know. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah,
Here's
you're-
a
Love it.
beer bottle top.
That is so great.
Nice.
He's at a
I didn't
smoke, you
even
can-
show you my little toys, my little peaceful.
right. So quickly, just that's a fun story. What's the?
Okay, this will be a good way to end this. Okay, I have just like
Yeah,
one
yeah.
little thing of light coming in.
It's beautiful.
This will end the relationship. This is a little story. So Max collected little toy lead soldiers, but that felt so violent to me. And I was in a thrift store, and I found, and he's a florist, and I'm a big gardener, and I love plants, and I write about plants, and I found a little toy man with a watering can.
Whoa.
So I gave him that for our first Christmas together, and that this is so beyond cheesy. You guys just
I
prepare.
love it.
No, it's
So-
gonna be good.
I start, collecting him like a guy planting a tree. And he's like, oh God, I just want like a guy with a machine gun. Like he wants the toy soldiers. Even though he loves me. And I'm like, a guy sawing. And a guy with bricks.
Come
Like,
on.
all these
You're
people-
violent?
Yeah, come on. So they're cool little like lead soldiers. So then we got married, tiny little ceremony in Vermont. And on top of our blackberry cobbler wedding cake, he puts the guy and the girl with the watering can.
Oh, that's really cute. That's unbelievably cute.
So that's
See-
like, relationship came full circle. Like he knows that I am a trash dragon, but he embraced it in a very sweet moment.
You
CJ,
didn't know they were
you-
going to be on there? He did that?
I didn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really okay. That's
fantastic.
CJ, you are cute on a cellular level. So
it's
thank
unbelievable.
you so much for like bringing yourself and all your glory to this program. Thank you so for
Thanks
doing this.
Doing it.
Yeah, we did it. And thank you so much, guys. We did it. 8+ episodes. Like, share, subscribe, or as Joe would say, sing.
Like.
Subscribe.
Hey!
Hey! Trash Dragons! Da-da-da-da-da-da! Trash! All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Hey, thanks for coming, everybody.
Don't you see the difference in the difference that you make from the cocks that you put to the names that you take? You got ladies and bees all giving you honey, and you whack more balls than the cover of money. You know Melissa Cherry doesn't do porn. To get funky and do the popcorn, eat your pies from China. Also they say you'll understand when it opens on.